Hi, welcome to my channel. Today, we step away from the noise to listen to a story about ancestry, bark, and the echoes of the land that never forgets. Here in Canada, the geography isn't just a map, it is a living lung, breathing through the pines and the cold, clear waters of the Great Lakes. This is a place where history isn't tucked away in dusty libraries, but is written in the very veins of the trees and the steady pulse of the First Nations. We are exploring the world of the Anishinaabe, a people who have walked these shores since the world was new. I hope this story offers you a window into a culture where the past and the present are thin enough to touch. Welcome back to our journey. Sarah's divorce felt like a glass vase shattering onto the tile floor, sharp and impossible to reassemble in the sterile light of Toronto. She watched the CN Tower shrink in the rear view mirror as she drove northwest, leaving the humid asphalt of the city for the rugged, ancient granite of the Algoma district. They settled in Sault Ste. Marie, a town perched where Lake Superior and Lake Huron met like two giants holding hands. Just a short drive away, nestled in the shadows of the Kulai Bay Forest, was Nokomi's cabin. Nokomi's was a pillar of the Anishinaabe, her face a map of wisdom carved by the northern winds. She welcomed them with a silence that felt more like a song than a lack of words. The weekend mornings were made of cedar smoke and smell of dark, bitter coffee. Sarah watched from the porch as Nokomis performed her daily ritual, a quiet conversation with the invisible. With grace that seemed to slow down time, the grandmother offered sima, or sacred tobacco, to the earth and the sky. This was her gift to Giche Manitou, the great mystery, an acknowledgement that every breath is a borrowed favor. Masim, only 6 years old, but with eyes that seemed to hold centuries, stood perfectly still, mesmerized by the way the tobacco touched the soil. He didn't ask questions, he simply absorbed the reverence, his small shadow blending with long, morning shadows of the white pine trees. Inside the cabin, the air grew heavy in the sweet, paper scent of history. Nokomis was a member of the Midewiwin, the Grand Medicine Society, and she held the responsibility of the Wig Washabak, the sacred birch bark scrolls. These were not mere artifacts, they were the encyclopedias of a nation, etched with pictograms that spoke of the stars, the migrations, and the original laws of the land. She unfurled them before Masim, her fingers tracing the delicate indentations in the bark. She told him of the 7 fires prophecy and how the ancestors moved west until they found the food that grows on water, the wild rice. Masim listened with an intensity that made the room feel smaller, leaning in as if the bark were whispering. Weekends became a sanctuary where the city ghost finally stopped haunting Sarah's heart. Under the sprawling canopy of the forest, the 3 generations wove a new tapestry of belonging. Nokomis shared histories of the totems, the clan systems that organized their society, while Masim began to hum. It started as a vibration in his throat, then turned into soft, melodic lullabies. These songs were rhythmic and strange, sounding like the cracking of lake ice or the rustle of dry leaves. Sarah and Nokomis would stop their chores, suspended in the air by the sound of his voice. It was a music that felt familiar yet undiscovered, a gentle bridge connecting the cabin to the deep, dark woods surrounding them. One crisp autumn evening, the community gathered for Jibai Wikung, the feast of the spirit. The air was filled with the aroma of the roasted corn and berries, a celebration for those who had crossed into the spirit world. As the drum began to beat, a sound to the Anishinaabe called the heartbeat of Mother Earth. Masin began to sing. These were not simple tunes of a child. They were ancient, haunting chants that no one had ever taught him. His murmurs flowed like the St. Mary's River, steady and inevitable. The elders froze, their weathered faces illuminating with bittersweet joy. They recognized the melodies of ancestors long gone, hearing the voices of their own grandparents returning through the mouth of a city-born boy. The news of the boy who remembered spread through the Algoma hills like a forest fire. Soon, Masin was no longer just a listener. He became a keeper. Other members of the community visited the cabin, bringing their own scrolls and oral histories. Masin would touch the ancient bark, his fingers finding patterns the eyes missed, and he would tell the stories back to them. His 6-year-old voice carried the weight of a patriarch, adding details about the Great Flood or the migration routes that the elders had forgotten. He spoke with beautiful clarity, his lullabies bringing profound sense of Pisanamatsoin, or inner peace, to everyone who sat by the fire to hear his small, steady heart. Sarah watched her son and felt a strange, humming vibration in her own chest. She realized she was no longer a visitor in her mother's world. She was home. She could grow here, rooted in the soil like the birches. Nokomis watched Mason too, recognizing a biological miracle she called blood memory, but which science made called epigenetic inheritance. It was the idea that experiences and knowledge of the Anishinaabe were etched into his very cells, waiting for the smell of wood smoke to wake them up. The boy was a living archive, a vessel for a culture that had survived centuries of winter. She was the proof that nothing is ever truly lost if the blood remembers the way. As the season turned, their travels expanded beyond Gulay Bay. They visited another Anishinaabe communities across Ontario, from the rocky shores of the Manitoulin Island to the dense woods of the Nipissing territory. In every village, Masin was welcomed as a sacred guest. He was formally recognized as a member of the Wawashkeshi, the deer clan. It was the perfect fit. He possessed the gentle, intuitive nature of the deer, the animal of the peacemakers and the poets. He sat with the elders of ancient bands, exchanging stories for stories. His presence a reminder that the Anishinaabe nation was not a relic of the past, but a living, breathing force moving confidently into the bright orange future. I hope you enjoy this tale of Mason and the echoes of the birch bark scrolls. Canada is a vast, complicated embrace of a land, and the traditions of the Anishinaabe are some of its deepest heartbeats. Through the story of the deer clan boy, we see that our ancestors never truly leave us. They are just waiting for the right song to call them back. Thank you for spending this time with me, learning about the geography and the soul of the First Nations. If this story touched you, please share your thoughts below and give a like to the video. Until our next journey through the woods and the water, take care of your own stories. May you find way home. Goodbye for now. See you later.